John quickened his pace through the streets of Chicago. It had been a long day at the police station, and all he thought about was getting home. Suddenly, a strange sound made him stop. It came from a dark alley between two buildings. Curious, John approached slowly. The noise grew louder. It sounded like a baby crying? His heart beat faster. Carefully, he looked inside a trash can. There was a little baby, all wrapped up in a dirty blanket. John was speechless. How could someone do this to such a small child? Without thinking twice, John picked up the baby. She was a little girl, so fragile and small. She stopped crying as soon as she felt John's strong arms. "Calm down, little one," John spoke softly. "You're safe now." John rushed to the nearest hospital. He came in screaming for help. The nurses came running and took the baby away. John stood there, his police uniform all wrinkled. He couldn't stop thinking about the little baby. Would she be okay? A nurse named Carla came to talk to him. "She has mild pneumonia, but she'll be fine," Carla said with a smile. "You saved her life." John felt enormous relief. "Can I see her?" he asked shyly. Carla took John to the nursery. The baby was there, tiny, with some tubes attached to her. John placed his hand on the glass, feeling something special for that child. "She needs a name," Carla said. John thought a little and smiled. "Emma. Let's call her Emma." Over the next few days, John went to see Emma whenever he could. He sat near her crib and talked softly. "Hi, Emma. It's me, John. You're getting stronger, you know?" Emma made little noises and moved her arms. John felt his heart melt every time she held his finger. One night, John came home and his girlfriend, Lisa, was waiting. She looked angry. "Where have you been?" Lisa asked. John told him about Emma. Lisa didn't like it at all. "You barely have time for us, and now you're left with a baby that isn't even yours?" John tried to explain how he felt, but Lisa didn't understand. "You better choose, John. Me or this baby." That night, John couldn't sleep. He thought about Emma, alone in the hospital. He thought about how his life would change if he decided to take care of her. It would be difficult, he knew. But something inside him said it was the right thing to do. The next day, John went to talk to his boss at the police station. "Boss, I need some time. I'm thinking about adopting a baby." John's boss was surprised but understood. "You're a good man, John. We'll help you with anything you need." John spent the next few weeks rushing between work, the hospital, and social services. He learned to change diapers, give a bottle, and calm Emma when she cried. Carla, the nurse, became a great friend. She taught John many things about taking care of a baby. "You're doing great," she would say, seeing how affectionate John was with Emma. Finally, the day came when Emma could go home. John got her a special room, with a pretty crib and cute toys. When John brought Emma home for the first time, he held her close and looked into her little eyes. "Welcome to your new home, Emma," he said softly. "I promise I will love you and care for you forever." Emma smiled, a toothless smile that made John smile too. At that moment, he knew that his life would never be the same again. It would be better, much better. The first days at home were full of joy and challenges. John learned to be a police officer and a father at the same time. He woke up at night to feed Emma, changed diapers between rounds, and sang little songs while making reports. His coworkers were surprised at first, but soon began to help. They took turns staying with Emma when John needed to work overtime. Neighbors and friends also helped. They brought food, took care of Emma when John needed to rest. John was very happy with so much kindness. But not everything was easy. There were nights when Emma cried nonstop, and John was lost and tired. Sometimes he wondered if he had made the right choice, if he could be a good father. On one of those difficult nights, John picked Emma up and went out onto the porch. Looking at the stars, he spoke softly. "I don't know if I'm doing everything right, little one. But I promise I'll do my best. We'll both learn together, okay?" Emma stopped crying and looked at John with her big, curious eyes. John felt so much love that he almost fell. He knew deep down that he had made the right choice. Time passed, and Emma grew strong and happy. John filled the walls with photos of her, her first smile, her first steps, her first birthday. Every moment was special to him. One day, while playing with Emma in the park, John saw Lisa walking by. She stopped, looking at the two with a sad face. "Hi, John," she said softly. "I see you've made your choice." John nodded, holding Emma close. "I did. And it was the best decision of my life." Lisa looked at Emma, who was smiling and waving happily. "She seems happy," Lisa said. "You both look happy." "We are," John replied. "It's not always easy, but it's worth every second." After Lisa left, John hugged Emma tight. "It's just the two of us, little one," he whispered. "But we're family. And that's all that matters." That night, as he put Emma to bed, John thought about how his life had changed. He was no longer just a cop alone. Now, he was a father, with a greater reason to live. "Good night, my little star," John said, giving Emma a little kiss on the forehead. "Daddy loves you so much." John woke up to the sound of Emma's laughter. He opened his eyes and saw his 2-year-old daughter jumping on the bed, all happy. "Good morning, Daddy!" Emma cried, throwing herself into John's arms. "Good morning, my princess," John replied, giving her a tight hug. "Ready for another day of adventures?" Emma shook her head, making her Goldilocks jump. "Yes. Shall we play police?" John laughed. "After coffee, okay? First, we have to get strong." In the kitchen, John made pancakes shaped like teddy bears, Emma's favorite. As they ate, he thought about how his life had changed in the last 2 years. It hadn't been easy being a single father and a police officer at the same time. But with the help of his friends and colleagues, John was succeeding. Emma was a happy, healthy girl, and that was all that mattered to him. After breakfast, John took Emma to daycare. "Bye, Daddy," she said, giving him a little kiss. "I love you." "I love you too, Princess," John replied, feeling his heart melt. "I'll pick you up later, okay?" At work, John focused on his cases. But whenever he had a moment, he looked at the photo of Emma on his desk. She was his motivation to be a better police officer, to make the world a safer place. At the end of the day, John picked Emma up from daycare. She ran to him as soon as she saw him, her little eyes shining with joy. "Daddy, Daddy! Guess what I did today?" Emma asked, jumping up and down with excitement. "What did you do, my beauty?" John asked, curious. "I drew our family," Emma replied, showing a paper full of colorful doodles. "Look, this is you, this is me, and this is Toto." John looked at the drawing, confused. "But Emma, we don't have a dog." Emma made a sad face. "I know, Dad. But I really wish I had one." John thought for a moment. Maybe it was time to expand the family. "You know what, Emma? I think we can think about it." Emma's eyes widened with happiness. "Really, Dad? Can we have a puppy?" "We'll see," John said, smiling. "But first, how about we go get some ice cream?" Emma clapped her hands in joy. "Yes, yes! Ice cream!" As they walked to the ice cream shop, John held Emma's little hand. He thought about how his life had become more colorful and joyful since she arrived. At the ice cream shop, they met Carla, the nurse who had helped John when he found Emma. She was now a great friend of the family. "Hi, John." "Hi, Emma," Carla greeted with a smile. "How are you?" "Aunt Carla!" Emma shouted, running to hug her. "Guess what? Daddy said we can have a puppy." Carla looked at John with a raised eyebrow. "And even?" John shrugged, smiling. "We are thinking about it." They sat together to eat ice cream. Emma excitedly talked about her day at daycare, while John and Carla chatted. "You're doing a great job, John," Carla said softly. "Emma is a very happy girl." John smiled, looking at his daughter. "Thank you, Carla. I don't know what I would do without the help of friends like you." After ice cream, John and Emma went home. On the way, they passed a park where several families were playing together. Emma stared at a mother pushing her son on the swing. "Daddy," she said suddenly, "why don't I have a mommy?" John felt his heart sink. He knew this day would come, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. "Well, Emma," he began, choosing his words carefully. "Some families are different. Ours is special because it's just the two of us. But that doesn't mean we love you any less. In fact, I love you for two." Emma thought for a moment, then smiled. "It's okay, Daddy. I love you too for two." At home, John helped Emma shower and get ready for bed. As I read her a story, I thought about how to answer the questions that would come in the future. After Emma fell asleep, John sat next to her bed, watching her peaceful little face. He promised himself that no matter what happened, he would always be honest with her and love her unconditionally. That night, John couldn't sleep. He thought about how he could give Emma everything she needed. Did she miss a mother? Was he doing enough? Suddenly, John had an idea. He grabbed his phone and started researching support groups for single parents. Maybe there he could find advice and friendships that would help him be an even better father. While browsing the websites, John heard a little noise. It was Emma, standing in the doorway of his room. "Daddy?" she called softly. "Can I sleep with you tonight?" John smiled and opened his arms. "Of course you can, my princess." Emma ran and jumped onto the bed, snuggling into her father's arms. "I love you, Daddy," she murmured, almost asleep. "I love you too, my little one," John replied, kissing the top of her head. In that moment, with Emma sleeping peacefully in his arms, John realized that he didn't need to be perfect. He just needed to love Emma and do his best. And that he knew he could do. I understood perfectly. I will write Chapter 3 following all the guidelines provided, avoiding cliches and keeping the language accessible to a 7-year-old. Here is Chapter 3. Chapter 3, New Challenges and Surprises. Emma ran through the park, her golden locks blowing in the wind. John watched her, smiling. Her little girl was already 6 years old and full of energy. "Daddy, look what I found!" Emma shouted, showing a colorful rock. John bent down to get a better look. "Wow, how beautiful, Emma! It looks like a tiny rainbow." Suddenly, a familiar voice caught John's attention. "John? Is that really you?" He turned around and saw Lisa, his ex-girlfriend, standing nearby. John was surprised. I hadn't seen her since he decided to adopt Emma. "Lisa? How long?" John said a little awkwardly. Emma ran back. "Who is this, Daddy?" she asked curiously. "This is Lisa, a friend of Dad's," John replied, choosing his words carefully. Lisa looked at Emma with a sad smile. "Hi, Emma. You've grown so much." Emma frowned, confused. "Do you know me?" John cleared his throat, feeling uncomfortable. "Emma, why don't you go play on the slide? Daddy needs to talk to Lisa for a bit." Emma agreed and ran away, but not before casting a suspicious look at Lisa. "She's beautiful, John," Lisa said softly. "You did a great job." John smiled proudly. "Thank you. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every second." Lisa hesitated for a moment. "John, I'm sorry for what happened. For what I said back then. I was wrong." John was surprised by Lisa's words. He didn't expect to hear this after so long. "Lisa, that was a long time ago," he said gently. "Things have changed. I have changed." Lisa nodded, looking a little sad. "I know. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. And that I'm happy for you and Emma." At that moment, Emma ran back. "Daddy, Daddy, can I have ice cream?" John smiled at his daughter. "Of course, Princess. Let's go." He turned to Lisa. "It was good to see you, Lisa. Take care of yourself." As John and Emma walked away, Lisa watched them with a thoughtful look. That night, after putting Emma to bed, John couldn't stop thinking about his date with Lisa. He wondered if he should tell Emma about his past, about how she got to him. The next day, John took Emma to school. On the way, she was strangely quiet. "Everything okay, Princess?" John asked, worried. Emma hesitated for a moment. "Daddy, why don't I have a mommy like other kids?" John felt his heart sink. He knew this moment would come, but still, he wasn't fully prepared. "Well, Emma," he began, choosing his words carefully. "Every family is different. Some have mom and dad, some just mom, some just dad. What matters is the love we have for each other." Emma thought for a moment. "But how did I end up with you, Daddy?" John took a deep breath. It was time to tell the truth. "Emma, remember when I told you that some stars fall from the sky? Well, you were my falling star. I found you when you were a little baby and I decided I wanted to be your father forever." Emma's eyes widened. "Really? Like in a fairy story?" John smiled, relieved by her reaction. "Yes, like in a fairy story. Only better because it's real." Emma hugged John tightly. "I love you, Daddy. You're the best dad in the world." That afternoon, when John went to pick Emma up from school, he found Sarah, her teacher, waiting for him. "Mr. John, can we talk for a minute?" Sarah asked with a gentle smile. John nodded, a little worried. "Of course, did something happen?" Sarah shook her head. "Nothing wrong. In fact, I wanted to talk about Emma's talent. She has an incredible gift for storytelling. Have you thought about enrolling her in drama or creative writing classes?" John was surprised and proud. "Wow, that's great. I'll think about it for sure." When Emma left the classroom, John hugged her tightly. "Hey, Princess. How about we go get a milkshake to celebrate?" "Celebrate what, Daddy?" Emma asked, curious. "The fact that you're amazing," John replied, tickling her. On the way to the ice cream shop, John thought about how his life had changed. He was no longer just a police officer, but a devoted father, always thinking about Emma's best interests. At the ice cream shop, while Emma was enjoying her strawberry milkshake, John had an idea. "Emma, what do you say we do something special this weekend? Maybe a picnic in the park?" Emma's eyes lit up. "Yes. Can we take Toto too?" John laughed. Toto was the puppy they had adopted a few months ago, fulfilling the promise John had made. "Of course. It will be a complete family day." That night, after putting Emma to bed, John sat in the living room, thinking about everything that had happened. The meeting with Lisa, the conversation with Emma about her origins, the discovery of her talent at school. He picked up the phone and called Carla, his nurse friend. "Hi, Carla," he said when she answered. "Sorry to call late. I just wanted to say thank you for all the support you've given me all these years. I don't know if I could have done it without you." Carla laughed on the other end of the line. "John, you are an amazing father. Emma is lucky to have you. And I am lucky to be part of your lives." After hanging up, John went to Emma's room. She slept peacefully, hugging her favorite teddy bear. John smiled, feeling his heart full of love. "Good night, my shooting star," he whispered, placing a soft kiss on her forehead. Emma jumped out of bed as soon as the alarm clock went off. Today was a special day, his 7th birthday. "Daddy, wake up!" she screamed, running to John's room. "It's my birthday!" John was already awake, smiling at his daughter's enthusiasm. "Happy birthday, my princess!" he said, hugging her tightly. In the kitchen, John prepared Emma's favorite breakfast, pancakes with a bare face. As they ate, he said, "Emma, I have a surprise for you today." Emma's eyes lit up. "What is it, Daddy?" "Let's have a picnic in the park," John announced. "And I invited some special people to join us." Emma clapped her hands in joy. "Who's going?" "Well, Aunt Carla will be there, and I also invited your teacher Sarah," John replied. "And there's one more person, but that's a surprise." Emma was curious, but John didn't want to say more. He helped Emma get dressed and together, they prepared the picnic basket. In the park, Carla and Sarah were already waiting for them. "Happy birthday, Emma," they said together, giving the girl hugs. Emma looked around. "Where's the other person, Daddy?" Just then, they heard a familiar bark. Toto came running, pulling the leash that was in Lisa's hand. "Lisa?" John said, surprised. "I didn't know you were coming." Lisa smiled shyly. "I hope that's okay. I wanted to be part of this special day." Emma looked at Lisa curiously. "Your dad's friend that we met in the park, right?" Lisa nodded. "That's right, Emma. Happy birthday!" They spread out the picnic blanket and began to eat. Emma excitedly talked about her school and her friends. John watched, happy to see how his daughter had grown. Suddenly, Emma became serious. "Daddy, can I ask you something?" "Of course, Princess." "What is it?" John replied. "Why does Lisa look sad when she looks at us?" Emma asked innocently. Silence fell over the group. John looked at Lisa, who looked uncomfortable. "Well, Emma," John began, choosing his words carefully. "Sometimes people make mistakes and regret it later. Lisa and I were very good friends before you arrived. But some things happened and we grew apart." Lisa took a deep breath. "Emma, the truth is that I was scared when your father decided to adopt you. I didn't understand how important you would be to him, to us. And now, seeing the two of you together, I realize how much I missed." Emma looked at Lisa, then at John. "But now you can be friends again, right?" John smiled in awe of his daughter's wisdom. "You know what? I think we can." The rest of the day was full of laughter and games. Emma ran with Toto, while the adults talked and remembered stories. As the sun began to set, it was time to leave. Emma hugged everyone, thanking them for the gifts and the special day. "Lisa," Emma called before they left. "Will you visit us again?" Lisa looked at John, who nodded with a smile. "I'd love to, Emma. If that's okay with your dad." On the way back home, Emma was quiet, thoughtful. "Everything okay, Princess?" John asked. Emma hesitated for a moment. "Daddy, could Lisa be my mommy?" John almost stumbled in surprise. "Emma, things aren't that simple. Lisa and I have a complicated history. But she seems to like us," Emma insisted. "And you smile more when she's around." John didn't know what to say. It was true that seeing Lisa again had messed with his feelings. But he needed to think about Emma first. "Let's take it easy, okay?" John said finally. "For now, how about we focus on being friends?" Emma agreed, but John could see the idea hadn't left her head. In the days that followed, Lisa began to appear more. Sometimes she took Emma out for ice cream after school. Other times, I would have dinner with them. John watched, with a mixture of joy and apprehension, as Emma clung to Lisa. And, to her surprise, he was also enjoying having her around. One night, after putting Emma to bed, John and Lisa sat on the porch talking. "John," Lisa began nervously, "I know I've made a lot of mistakes in the past. But these last few days with you and Emma made me realize how much I miss you guys. Could we try again?" John was silent for a moment, thinking. He looked at Emma's bedroom window, then back at Lisa. "Lisa, I can't deny that I still have feelings for you," he said finally. "But Emma is my priority right now. We need to slow down, think about her first." Lisa smiled, with tears in her eyes. "I understand. And I really admire that about you, John. We can go at your pace, at Emma's pace." That night, after Lisa left, John entered Emma's room. She was awake, looking out the window. "Hey, Princess. Can't sleep?" John asked softly. Emma shook her head. "Daddy, do you think we will have a big family one day?" John sat on the bed next to her. "You know, Emma, we're already a big family. We have Aunt Carla, Teacher Sarah, Toto, and now Lisa too." Emma smiled. "That's true. But it would be nice to have a mommy too." John hugged his daughter. "Emma, no matter what happens, you will always be the most important person in my life. And together, the two of us, we are already a perfect family." Emma snuggled into her father's arms. "I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, my star," John replied, kissing the top of her head. As Emma fell asleep, John thought about the future. He didn't know exactly what would happen to Lisa, or if their family would grow. But he was sure of one thing: with Emma by his side, he could face any challenge that came his way.